The trial of Elizabeth Holmes picks back up again on Tuesday. The former businesswoman was charged with 10 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud when her blood testing startup Theranos failed to produce results after attracting billions from high-profile investors. But why does this case matter so much? Here to help us break that down is Rachel Fiset, managing partner with Zweiback, Fiset and Coleman. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Very serious charges, but they're not all that unusual in the business world. Why is this particular case getting so much attention?
This case is fascinating, and it's fascinating to everyone because it's a bit of Silicon Valley gone wrong. And you have an incredibly young woman defendant. She dropped out of Stanford at 19, and she started this massive blood testing company that was supposed to just have incredible technology. She became a billionaire, one of the youngest in the country, particularly for a woman. And she had pretty famous investors that were all really excited about this company. I mean, this included former secretaries of state and other high-profile politicians, and just the breadth of the bust, the magnitude of the money that was raised is fascinating to everyone.
Okay, so the trial just wrapped up for week 4. How have things been going so far, and can you bring us up to speed?
So this week, they had the testimony of her former lab director, Adam Rosendorf, and he is really providing some pretty damning testimony. He was on the ground, he knows where the bodies are buried, and he is testifying, hey, I kept telling her our technology wasn't working.
Yes.
And once she knew the technology wasn't working, she continued to raise money anyway.
Yikes. So speaking of the damage in evidence and testimony against Holmes, what's the defense arguing?
Well, the defense is arguing that, hey, it wasn't really her job. She wasn't boots on the ground. Her job was to oversee. So she was putting her trust in other people as far as the scientists and other people with the know-how. So how was she really supposed to know what was really going on there? And I think the lab director's testimony is a bit contrary to that.
Wow, that's going to be really tough. Finally, making it really quick, you know, there is this culture of fake it until you make it in Silicon Valley. How do you think this case will impact that and will impact the way that startups and the presidents and CEOs of startups go about collecting money and raising funds?
I think this is really showing what kind of the little bit of research people are doing on some of these startups. I mean, she was a 25-year-old raising $1 billion. I mean, this is a ton of money to give to somebody who obviously was a novice and didn't have experience. So this may be a red flag for people to just stop and really evaluate who the head of the company, who the head of the startup is before making such massive investments.
Do their due diligence. That is always very important. Rachel Fiset, managing partner with Zweiback, Fiset and Coleman, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.